So what percentage of what you guys see and like demonic stuff that you guys deal with, what percentage of it would you say, for lack of a better phrase, is inherited demonization? Because I've seen, as a pastor, I've seen where someone's mama had an affair at 32, and wouldn't you know, the daughter's dealing with an affair at 32. Or, you know, the parent was abused by one of their parents, and then the child ends up in an abusive marriage. You know, and there's these patterns that repeat. Is that one way that you guys come to recognize this, and how do you deal with that?
Looking back at thousands and thousands and thousands of deliverances, I would say it's over 90%,
Oh,
95%.
wow. Oh, wow.
It is incredible. So, for example, I reference molestation because that's just one of the most horrible things, but it is so common. You know, we do 3-hour sessions, and an hour and a half of that is just talking to the person. We're just listening, taking some notes, because I'm looking for patterns that may reveal curses. And within the curses, that's where the demons flow. So we'll kind of map out. I'll be like, I tell people, you don't have to go research your ancestry for freedom. It's just whatever you know, let's talk about it. So I'll list up like the mother and the father, and I'll just say, I know there's good things about mom and dad, but I need to know the worst top 5 things. Just tell me. You know, so we may say, okay, well, mother was molested when she was a child. And then we go to grandparents. Well, not sure if grandparents were, but there, you know, there was a divorce that happened in the grandparents, and it was adultery. So that's just 2 generations, but we can see separation. We can see molestations. So let's say a demon comes forward, and it's a demon of hate. And I'm like, you know, who is your boss? And it may go to lust, and then it may say Jezebel, and then it may say Aphrodite, depending on where their ancestry is from. But once they get to Aphrodite, yeah, that's one of the queens of heavens. That's what we call an occult level demon. It would be like one of the rulers of a bloodline. So Aphrodite, how did you get in the bloodline? And Aphrodite may say sexual ritual, which is very common. There's human sacrifice, and then there's sexual rituals, temple prostitution. And although it seems so far away from our culture, it's actually not that far away. We're just talking a few generations ago.
Yeah.
Many of our ancestors go back to Rome and all of these places to where these goddesses were worshipped. And a few generations back, our ancestors many of them were doing rituals on altars sexually.
Yeah.
So when we find that a person was targeted for molestation, and many times that results back in a ritual done to one of the sexual goddesses. So therefore, through that ritual, it created an assignment coming down the bloodline, looking for every lady in the bloodline so it could demonize them. So the
Wow.
act of ritual takes place. That gives it a right to come into the bloodline. So a curse has become activated. But now, for the curse to take root, it must have an open door in each subsequent generation. So there's a difference between the running of a curse and internal demonization. So for a curse to be effective, for a curse to land, there's a pre-existing action done by an ancestor or done to an ancestor, grants a right of entry, creates an assignment. The assignment is the curse, but then the demons are looking for a right of entry in each new generation. And that's why we break both the assignment and remove demonization. They work hand in hand, although they operate differently.